So, this is an Alto Sackbut, obviously a replica of an Alto Sackbut, and this is something that started life as a Gretsch tenor trombone, and it was cut down, and the reason it was cut down was because it was an absolutely terrible trombone. Why was it a terrible trombone? It didn't have a lead pipe, so no venturi, and it is a tiny bore. The bore is .430. .430, you got that right. That's smaller than most trumpets and tiny, absolutely tiny for a trombone. And what else do you know that has those kinds of dimensions? Why, a sackbut, definitely. And if you look at it, it's not built like a modern trombone. There's no expansion in the neck pipe, and there's moderate expansion in the back crook, and slow expansion here, but it's still very small, lots of tubular tubing, right? Cylindrical tubing, and not a lot of conical tubing, and that keeps the tone just sounding a certain way. So, as you can see, I'm playing it with a modern mouthpiece. I've tried Sackbut mouthpieces. I do not have the right embouchure for it, but I do know that they change the tone even more, and they make a difference. But here's an idea of what you get basically from this horn. So you can get 6 3/4 positions out of it before you're down on the stockings and a little past the point of comfort. I think that's pretty good. I owned several altos that didn't even have that much. Okay, what more can I tell you about it? Well, like I said, no lead pipe, no water key. I've closed off the water key. I brazed it shut with a nickel, copper, silver alloy. A lot of people don't like water keys on sackbuts, and they think it affects the sound. I could imagine that it would affect the sound, and what the heck? I mean, there's how you drain your water. It's that simple. Okay, what else can I tell you about it? Well, tuning slide was cut off, and that's what put it into something close to E flat, and then it was a matter of adjusting length of tubes and changing the dimensions of the slide and things like that. And like most sackbuts, you've got some movement here that you can use to adjust the pitch. But I wasn't really comfortable with that. For me, I like having it all the way in. I don't like having that gap there, and well, I'm a bit of a nerd and I like building things. So I ended up putting on it this particular mechanism here. This is a tuning and slide mechanism. So that is how you adjust the pitch. Okay? Now, it has what you would expect from a sackbut, what most people think is what makes it a sackbut, and that's this cut-off bell. I've seen people I have just a beautiful what was it? It was a committee trombone, and so they had just cut the bell, thinking that that would make it into a sackbut. It still played like a Martin committee, but not as good. And I don't know. I think that makes me cry. So this is part of what makes it a sackbut, but probably one of the less significant parts of what makes it a sackbut. So, as I said, you've got this very, very narrow bore. You've got the brass tubing here with the nickel stocking on the end of it. No lead pipe. Those are the things that give it that delicate sound that I've been talking about. Now, taking out, this is an old 12C mouthpiece. Pretty small. I did build this. Not really built it, I modified it. This was an older, probably a Koyasnan or something like that. But I filled in with epoxy and left that sharp edge, which is what a Sackbut is supposed to have. And this comes with the horn. If you want to learn a little bit more about playing with a flat rim and a shallow bowl. I can get an okay tone out of it. I just cannot skip between partials on it with using this. But with practice, I know you will be able to do that. So that's what we've got here. Duplicates, I think, all the most important features. It's not put together with beeswax. It is put together with solder. So probably requires less adjustment. It's not as good as some of the reproductions being made right now. I would say it's better than any reproduction that you pick up that's going to cost you less than $1,500, and that I think is quite significant. It is built like a Sackbut is built. It's not built from a modern trombone that's been altered so that it's kind of like a Sackbut or looks like a Sackbut. It is meant to duplicate what a Sackbut can do. I hope somebody absolutely falls in love with this horn.